I'm Janet Lumpkin, and I'm a docent at the Meadows Museum. I'd like to share with you some thoughts about Antoni Tàpies' work, The Great Black Relief. Tàpies was born in Barcelona in 1923 and died there in 2012. A museum dedicated to his work opened in Barcelona, and he is a major figure in Spanish art. The Meadows is fortunate to have such an important painting from a major Spanish artist. Tàpies interviewed often, so we know quite a lot about what he thought, though he carefully didn't give specifics about his art's meaning. He didn't even call his art paintings. At most, he called them wall reliefs. Even the title of this work says little: Great Black Relief. Great? Perhaps because it's big, at 8 feet by 9 feet. Black? There's no color in it. And relief? Something is raised off the surface there in the middle. But art reflects the culture that creates it. Tàpies agreed, saying, a work of art must be closely tied to contemporary forces. So perhaps understanding what was going on during Tàpies' life in Spain will help us approach his art. As your eyes wander over this canvas, let me tell you about Spain at the time. Tàpies was a young adolescent, about 13, when the Spanish Civil War broke out in 1936. He was old enough to observe the violence and to know what it meant. When it ended 3 years later in 1939, Francisco Franco emerged as the winner. He became a dictator who came to rule totally. This work was created in 1973, so Franco had been in power for 35 years. Franco had total control of all life in Spain. There was no government as such, it was all Franco. The economy was destroyed, and there was little financial stability. The educational system was so undermined that people were essentially uneducated. No personal freedom was allowed. Franco ruled. By the time Tàpies created this work, Franco was 81 years old and still in total charge. Tàpies might well have been asking, how long will this go on? Now let's look at this art. You've seen the tears in the canvas, so deep you can see the plywood panel underneath. You've noticed the wax drops at the bottom and the chalk lines drawn directly on the canvas. Marble dust mixed with the pigment creates a glimmer to the surface. And there's that bulge in the middle, the relief of the title. Remember, Tàpies was very careful to not give a descriptive title. With Franco in charge so long, Tàpies would have made it easy for us if he had titled it, How Long Will This Go On? But he didn't. He left it to us to figure out what he meant. Knowing what was going on at the time, play with some of the elements. Maybe the tears could be tears in the social fabric of Spain. The chalk lines look like a geometry problem. There's a Spanish saying, a tree is best measured after it has fallen. Perhaps the tree is Franco, fallen, and will soon be measured. The wax droplets could be reminders of the violence of the Civil War, but remember, we don't know. Tàpies never said. And there's that bulge. What could it be? On tours, some people see a shrimp. One man saw a crown. Others see a corpse being carried. Whatever it is, it's something pushing out. Something is moving toward us. What will Spain become when it emerges after Franco? Tàpies doesn't say, and that's what pulls us into this work. We just don't know, but we wonder. And that's another very important thing. Art doesn't have to be pretty to pull us in. I love this piece, and I wouldn't consider it beautiful necessarily, but it is compelling. Tàpies said, without shock, there cannot be art. If an aesthetic form is not capable of baffling the viewer, he says, if it does not overturn his mode of thinking, It is not an artistic form for today. He wanted to shock us, wanted us to have to figure it out. Thank you.